Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Salt and Sauce podcast. My name's Stuart, representing the Hearts side of the city. And Robert, who are you representing this week?
The Hibs.
Of course. Yeah, welcome along. Really just looking back at the games from last week. Two dramatic games, I think it's fair to say. Hibs in Europe on Thursday, and Hearts against Motherwell there at the weekend. And then looking forward to the next couple of games for Hibs and Hearts next weekend. That's the plan for this week. Robert, I noticed we had a reply to one of the tweets saying, "Can we get to the Hibs games a bit quicker?" That Hearts guy's putting me to sleep, which is fair enough if you're a Hibs fan, of course. The reason I've been doing that though is a compliment because you guys are in Europe, and I always think it's more natural to look at the game you've just had and then the next leg or the next round or whatever. So with that in mind, it's up to you. Do you want to go first, or do you want to kick off with the Motherwell game?
I think to be fair, the guy on Twitter he did say a bit tongue in cheek,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but um all good engagement. No,
It's-
all publicity is good publicity in the words of our friend.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But let's rest assured, I've honestly been doing that as a compliment to Hibs that they've been
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to. Um, that said, I also think it's a more natural place to start because what a game at Tynecastle on Saturday there. I was at the game myself, and for I'll say 65 minutes, we were so bad. We were so bad. Um, I want to talk about one thing quickly though before I talk about us, and that is Motherwell were brilliant. They
Mhm.
were so good. They were playing it in triangles. They were one touch. They were finding space, and there's a lot that can be said about what we did to make that happen. But I think you said yourself, Robert, they were very good at the weekend.
Yeah, I was very impressed with them.
And this is you've got to remember they've got a few new guys coming in, new manager and all that. Not exactly the biggest budget in the world. Um,
I
I,
mean, particularly when they're up against title challengers Hearts.
exactly. It's an intimidating place to go. A full stadium as well. You'll see that when Hibs come to Tynecastle as well. Um, but no, all joking aside, they were great. You know, the Watt and Slattery in the middle were great. They were good on the ball, good off the ball. Their wingers, Longjello, and I forget the other name, but he scored one of the goals. It's quite a long name, but they were very good. But their best player was Elijah Just, number 21 for them, the wee winger. He was phenomenal. He was gliding past players. He set up, I think, two of the goals. Um, I was so impressed with him. That said, I'll leave the Motherwell podcast to talk about that. Hearts were all over the place. There was loads of things that were bad. Our passing was poor. We were getting dragged out of position. Devlin and McInnes, who have both been good this season, never the best players on the ball, but both are physical, both get about the pitch, both are handfuls to play against. They were just getting dragged out all over the place, and we were leaving gaps of 30, 40 yards for their players. And complimenting Motherwell, but I think I could look decent with 40 yards of space. That's maybe a bit of a stretch, but everyone looks better when they've got 40 yards of space in front of them. So I mean, it was so poor from that point of view. There was big gaps in our defence. Um, it was just so naive. The one bit that summed it up for me was as bad as everything was going for us. There was also just stupid little things. There was one moment when we were, I think, maybe 2-0, maybe 3-0 down, that the ball went out and Harry Milne went to take the throw in quickly, and the ball boy threw it to him, and the throw was absolutely fine. But Milne then dropped it. The ball hit off his foot, rolled away. So see, even trying to take a quick throw in that first 65 minutes, we honestly couldn't even do that. And Milne was one of our better players. It was even stupid things like that. I just everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. Their goal, albeit a deflection, was well worked from a corner. It was similar to one we scored against Sunderland. They moved it nicely. They moved our players around nicely and got it to Slattery at the edge of the box. Fine, it takes a deflection. I don't know if it's going in or not before that, but um, deflection aside, they totally deserved it. And if anything, we were delighted to be going in 1-0 at halftime, 1-0 down. We then made a few changes. So Beningame comes on and Braga comes on, and we start to look a little bit better. But again, 4 minutes later, 4 minutes after kicking off, they're 2-0 up. Again, it's just on the left. Their winger cuts inside. Finlay goes to him rather than track his runner. I'm in two minds as to whether that's the right thing to do or not, because I get that the guy with the ball was the danger, but he's then
Mm.
got an easy pass to someone who's closer to goal, who then scores the goal. Um, and so yeah, that's 2-0, and you're thinking, oh my God, here we go. And again, we did start to get our foot on the ball a little bit more, but around about the hour mark, I think just after the hour mark, it's 3-0. Stephen O'Donnell, of all players, is playing a through ball, and people were complimenting the pass. And don't get me wrong, like he plays the right pass at the right time. But again, the guy just has got about 40 yards between Finlay and Halkett. It's unbelievable the gap that's there. If honestly, if it happened at five sides, you'd be annoyed at your defender getting dragged out. And he then rolls it across. Longella's got time to, he takes a touch and then just walks it into the net. It was honestly so bad. Um, and at that point, I know, and you messaged me after the game to describe it as points dropped. And obviously, everyone knows it happened. We do pull it back. So it is points dropped because we're expecting to win. But from this point, and Hibs would be the same, of course, if you're 3-0 down, you would bite the hand off for a point. So the one thing I will say is for the next 35 minutes, the final sort of half hour or so, um, including injury time, that is. Fair play, like the character to come back, and obviously there's one man that was obvious for that was Claudio Braga. Um, his ability, he's decent ability, but the thing that Braga is so good at is just energy, drive. He's the sort of player it's easy to love him when he's one of yours, um, just because of all that energy, and he clearly wants to win. You could see how much it meant to him when he scored. He plays a part, he's actually taking people on, he's direct, he gets a shot away that's blocked for the first goal and it falls to Milne and what a strike. Did you see the first goal back?
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a really good strike, very clever, like how to hit it that straight rather than trying to put
Yeah.
bend on it. Because I think if you put bend on it, the defender blocks it. So lovely finish, and you're thinking, okay, that's what we needed. The only way to get back is to get the first goal. Um, we then it's Spittle plays the ball. I think he's actually probably looking for Shanklin, but it ends up being a better ball for Braga. Um, he's definitely. I'm not sure about him on his left foot just yet, but either way, he took it on his left, smashed it between the keeper's legs. It's given for offside. My initial thought, although I was behind the goal, so it's impossible to tell about offside from there, but I felt like he was on, and it was a bit closer than I thought. But onside is onside, and he was onside, and it's a good finish as well. 3-2. And there was that moment of big celebrations, offside flag going up. You're going, oh God, here we
Mm.
go. Then the goal gets given, and the noise in Tynecastle at that point, it was unbelievable. Really, really brilliant bit of encouragement. Thinking, here we go, we can definitely get back into this, and obviously that's what happened. Biringame keeps the ball well on the edge of the box, plays it to Milne again, who strikes it well. The keeper should do better. He spills it right in the centre of the 6 yard box. Braga follows in, which is exactly what you'd want your forward players to do. Otherwise, the keeper just smothers it again, or the defender gets a clearance. It's what we spoke about with Chris Cadden um,
Mm.
the other week in extra time. He's in the right place at the right time and gets it equal. And what a celebration in the stadium! It was absolutely brilliant. Um, as much as I think the keeper could have done better, credit to Milne again. I think it's one of those shots where the ball, it'd be difficult for the keeper to track that, but there's no doubt a professional keeper should save it and should hold it better, or at least push it around the post. Either way, we're delighted with the goal. And then from there, it was just madness. We it's crazy that I'm delighted with the point. I'm furious at the drop points. I'm also gutted we didn't win in the end because we had chances. Braga and Kazaridis linked up really nice. Um, and admittedly, the keeper comes out well. Braga, I think he does the right thing trying to put it over him. Could have maybe gone round him. But either way, it leads to a corner. That corner leads to an Alan Forrest shot, which is on target but it's blocked, which leads to another corner. It doesn't come to anything. Admittedly, they had a chance at the other end. They had a shot that was blocked by their own man. But then, of
Mm.
course, the biggest thing that happens at the end is we actually hit the post, or the keeper pushes it onto the post, and it would have been Braga's hat trick. That was in injury time. If that had gone in to make it 4-3, you're talking. Remember, Czech Kyoto against Arsenal. I think that was 4-all, was it? I can't remember. But either way,
Yeah.
absolute madness if that had gone in for his hat trick. I'll even forgive him for doing the Sioux celebration that he does, which I find a
Mm,
little bit cringe. But listen, if he does it 30 times this season, then I'll be happy. Um, so absolutely bonkers game, and it's one where genuinely I'm as I say, gutted at the drop points, delighted with the point, and also disappointed not to win all in the same game just because of the way it transpired. Um, what and again the one thing, and you've said this a couple of times about McInnes, and I'll talk a little bit about the amount of subs he's having to make at the minute. Um, but you spoke about turning defeats into draws and draws into wins.
mm,
And Dundee United, as much as I think we deserve to win, Motherwell, did we deserve a point? Hard to argue that really, but again, we could have won. But anyway, I'd say there's 3 points with that the late Finlay goal and the Braga comeback that we wouldn't have had last season.
yeah, yeah.
You watched the game, Robert, in the absence of Hibs playing at the weekend?
I did actually, yeah. First of all, it was a brilliant game. We did say we thought it'd be a comfortable 2-0 Heartsman, but as we've said in the league, there are no easy games, and if you
Yeah.
don't turn up, and the likes, I didn't. I must admit, I didn't see it coming from the likes of Motherwell. If you don't turn up against the likes of St Mirren, you're probably going to lose, or you're definitely not going to win. But um, I think Motherwell are much improved. To be fair, they played some really nice stuff. Hearts were very very poor, I've got to say. I was surprised by how poor. I was surprised as well that Braga and Beningame again don't start a home
Yes.
game against Motherwell. Very strange decision. I saw a lot online in terms of comments from Hearts fans just saying that start the best team from the start. Don't bring them on. Start the best team from the start and get the game won. But again, McInnes obviously realised the changes he had to make, and you nearly actually ended up winning it. But
Mhm.
what I would say, I don't think it's a good result for Hearts because I think when you look at it kind of holistically and you look at the fixture list, you're thinking Motherwell at home. That is a big. That we should be getting 3 points there. Obviously, with the way the game pans out, you're taking 3-3 when you're 3-0 down, and you know what I mean. You think the game's done. So, I see what you mean by the range of emotions, but I thought it was only Hibs that put their fans through the
Well,
ringer
I
like
think
that.
I've heard a lot of comments about Derek McInnes being a boring manager, sets up to defend, but there's a 3-2 and a 3-3 and penalty shootouts and everything like that. Yeah, it's been pretty wild, and you're right. There's a few funny things about the team selection that I've been thinking. Kabori, I think will be good, but he's not a wing back. I mean,
Yeah.
he can play on the wing, I think, if he's right up there or through the middle. He's got a bit about him. He's physical, and he managed to actually get a couple of shots away, and I like that. I like forward players getting shots in, even if they're not scoring. But he's definitely not a wing back, and I think that's an area we really need to work on with Borch Grevnik injured. Forrester is okay, but he's young, and Steinwender, I'm unconvinced at him at centre half. Never mind at fullback. But anyway, so I thought that was bizarre. Braga not starting, bizarre. Beningame not starting, bizarre. I don't know if McInnes fancies Beningame that much, to be honest with you. McEntee, he was brilliant against Aberdeen. He was brilliant against Sunderland, playing a bit further right and really high pressing up there. He's not the best on the ball. That's the truth. But there is a place in certainly at this level for players like that who aren't necessarily amazing on the ball, but do a job against the other team. You wouldn't like to play against them. I'd have Birmingham in my team every week. I'd have Braga in my team every week. Um, I know people will point out to their flaws, but that's why they're at Hearts and not at
Mm,
Real Madrid or anywhere like that. And it's the same with Hibs as well. The
mm,
players can be good, but they've got their limitations, and
mm.
that's why they're here. So yeah, it was bizarre. In the same way that in the same way that it's never a good idea to go 3-0 down, the best thing you do once you're there is come back and show good character.
Yeah.
But the same way, I'd rather pick a good starting 11. The thing that has been encouraging is that he's making the right changes. Things could be better, obviously, and that's getting it right from the start, and that's not going 3-0 down. They're the obvious improvements that we can make going forward. But that said, we're unbeaten, and I think if I look at the season as a whole, the league season as a whole so far, um, That's Aberdeen, Dundee United, and Motherwell played. Um, Aberdeen and Dundee United, two-year stronger teams from last season. Motherwell, as we both admitted, bit of a surprise package in terms of how good they were, and we've got 7 points from them. So I would say, actually looking holistically, that was our toughest game yet, and we got a point from it. 7 points from nine. It could have been nine, given that we'd beaten Aberdeen and Dundee United already, but it's certainly far from a disaster. And the final thing I'll say about Hearts before we please the Twitter masses and get on to Hibs is the final thing I'll say about Hearts is we've got a lot of new players coming in as well. And it's probably something I overlooked a little bit because I was excited about some of the players who were coming in and McInnes coming in. A lot of new players, a lot of them new to the Scottish League. McInnes, he is new. And so even established players like Beningame and Devlin and Shanklin, they're all new to him. Um, so there is going to be that period. And things like Braga not playing because we had Kabori on or Beningame not playing, Magnuson needing time to come in. I think they could be timed better. So St Mirren away, for example, we spoke about that. Magnuson, maybe not the best option there. But I think in time we're going to need someone like him to come in to offer the creativity that McInnes and Devlin don't. And Beningame can do, but it's not the main part of his game. Um, so yeah, there's going to be a bit of experimentation and that's going to be a natural process. So I think to get 7 points with a new team from the first three games, two of them two of the harder games and Motherwell harder than we expected. Yeah, do you know what? Overall, pass marks so far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were delighted to see Hearts dropping points. At one point, it looked like it was going to be a humiliation, but
Yeah, I know.
fair play, you got the point, but still a win for Hibs.
Yeah, but again, the thing is, I would say is we'll come on to Hibs. Hibs have got a tough fixture next weekend in the league, but if Motherwell play like that, surely you'd be a bit worried about coming up against a Motherwell team like that. Now, I don't think you necessarily make the same mistakes that Hearts would, but if they play like that, they'll cause you problems.
Could be another 6-all game.
That would be good.
Um,
Glad you mentioned that and not me.
okay, on to Hibs.
Yeah, now actually, I had a question for you, Rob. I'm sure you've got a few notes there, but you Legia Warsaw,
Yeah,
2-1 at Easter Road to them. Um, you were you complimented David Gray a lot on things like team selection and things like
yeah,
that. Do you think you got it wrong?
yes,
Okay.
yes, essentially. So the moment the team was announced, and I saw we're gonna mention him again, Campbell's name, and I feel bad singling him out because he's one of those guys that, he's a great athlete in terms of Scottish football. He gives his all.
Yeah.
He pops up with the odd goal. He's Hibs through and through, but you have to call it as you see it. There is no way that Gray, watching Campbell play for us since the start of this season, he's featured. He has done nothing, and I
Yeah.
mean nothing, in a Hibs shirt to merit starting that game. Any game he's come on, particularly in Europe, he's shown that he can't keep the ball. His decision making, his positioning, he's all over the place. He's a red card waiting to happen. Just it's like a man down. And whenever
Mhm.
we've made the sub to bring him off, that sub has shown he's much better. So I don't know. I'd love to know Gray's reasoning for starting him, particularly when we talked about how strong Chiwa was
Mhm.
from the bench. You could even put Hoylett in there as well. We better in those positions now. We don't need to rely on the likes of Campbell. And it
Yeah.
showed again, as will come on, he gives the ball away for their second goal. Just no pressure on him at all. Just passes it to their player, and there you go. We're 2-0 down. So
I like
anyway, that was just the wrong decision.
Yeah, I like what you say. So I was just going to jump in there on like Josh Campbell playing it, and God knows I've seen players at Hearts like this, especially when it's sort of local talent that's maybe come through, especially if they've maybe come through the academy or whatever. You want them to do well,
Yeah,
but and that's what you're saying there is that I'm sure you'd love for Campbell to come on, score the winning goal, and
absolutely.
he's legend. But the truth is, you need to look at the limitations of his ability, and there was a time when that was okay for Hibs,
Yeah.
maybe 12 months ago, but you've gotten a lot better since then, and it's time to move on.
And I think even other fans can see looking at Hibs when Campbell's involved as well. It wasn't just Hibs fans commenting. And obviously, some fans are going overboard. The guy doesn't deserve to get sacked or anything, but um, he's not good enough. He's not good enough to start for Hibs, and he's definitely not good enough when we're in European football. You need players that are going to retain the ball, make the right decisions on the ball, calm it down. Campbell's not that guy. Campbell's a guy we should be using if we're 2-0 up or 3-0 up even, and it's just someone that's going to come on and close it down and do that kind of workman like.
Yeah,
Um, he's not going to dictate place of the pace of a game.
Furlough.
Very, he has the odd goal. He scored two against Celtic last season, but
Yeah,
that's all he has done really,
yeah. I mean,
and
like Ivan
that's
Sproul got a hat trick at Ibrox, didn't he? And
yeah.
well, I didn't think he was a good player at all.
Oh,
Sproul was.
come on, fastest man in Ireland.
Yeah.
Love Sproul. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Gray got that one wrong. In terms of
And
looking at the game, we
yeah,
started really, really well. Again, electric atmosphere. Fans right up for it. The players looked up for it. We had so many chances before they actually scored that you just can't pass up. I think I messaged you Mulligan in the opening
oh
seconds.
yeah,
I think to the back, just shoot, just put
it
your
was
foot through it.
that was so strange because you're thinking at least maybe a deflection, maybe get a corner, get the fans riled up, but he tries to chop back in. What was he doing?
He'd already had the man on
Yeah,
his bum.
yeah.
Just
It was. I,
just
I'm,
shoot.
I'm I was so amazed at that one, especially like you can understand if it's someone low on confidence,
Yeah.
but he's been brilliant.
No, it was a strange one. So anyway, so that was a decision, the wrong decision in front of goal, and then I think it was a Campbell header goes wide. I
Sack him.
think Bowie as well. Cadden pulls it back, does really well, pulls it back, and you're
Yeah,
like, you wouldn't want any other man
I
brimming with
know.
confidence in front of goal, and he puts it wide. And I'm thinking these have to go in, these chances have to go in a game like this,
That's the one
because
I
there
messaged.
was going to be a period where they were going to put pressure on us.
That's the one I messaged you about was the Bowie one.
Yeah,
And this is where I mean, listen, I rate Bowie. I'd get him at the very least in the Scotland squad, possibly probably starting. I can't see who you'd have ahead of him right now, but that's the next level for him. Is he needs to be consistently hitting the target at the very least with chances like that. And I think he'll do it. I think he's done everything right so far. He's been great, but that's the next challenge for him because that was a big
absolutely.
moment.
And I think Steve Clark said he's a rough diamond.
Yeah,
There's a player there, but obviously he needs to. I think he should start for Scotland. I don't think we've got anyone else better to kind of lead the line and do the work that he does.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that throw him in and see how he does. But anyway, so he missed that then, and then there's a very very strange penalty decision. Um, Very very harsh. I think the rules are if it's inside your body, then it shouldn't be given. The ref doesn't give it. VAR looks at it and think this is a pen. What I would say is Rocky does throw himself at it, so there could be an argument that he's put his what you're meant to do as a defender, put your body in the way. But I think because his other arm is up as well, I think that may have
Yeah.
something to do with it. It does hit his arm, but like if his arm wasn't there, it's hitting his chest. Do you know what I mean? He didn't put his
Yes.
arm actually out of his body
Yeah,
to stop the ball. So I thought it was very harsh.
I would agree with that. I think if the ref doesn't give it, I don't see how VAR can call that like clear and obvious.
Yeah.
Um, it 100% hits his arm, hits his
Yeah.
hand, whatever. Like there's no debate about that. The angles, I didn't think the angles were great for me to tell whether his arm was like there or slightly out. But I agree with you. Again, it's certainly not clear and obvious. The only thing I thought in the yes, it's a penalty column was, as you say, his body wasn't there to begin with. He then moves his body there, but and that that gets in the way of the ball.
Yeah.
I think it's a very harsh penalty, and even as a Hearts fan, obviously I was shouting Stonewaller at the time, but
Yeah.
no, I'd be pretty furious if that was given against us.
So yeah, so that goal goes in. It's a sucker punch really with the chances you've missed, and
Mm.
then that happens. So we we weren't at our best, is what I would say,
I'd agree. Yeah.
but we weren't poor or anything. We probably weren't at the level we needed to be to get a result over the 90 minutes that we really wanted. In the second half, then when did they score their second? Remind me.
Was it not just after halftime? I'll double check. But they've gone 2-0 up anyway.
So they score their second. I think it's. I remember the goal. It was
It's oh
across
no,
in.
it's added time in the first half. It was right
That's right.
before
That's right.
halftime.
That's right. So
Yeah, no,
they
that's the
send a
sucker punch.
crossover. We're kind of all over the place. We're off men. Um, the keeper's positioning could be questioned. Defense definitely aren't tight enough to their men. Ball
Mm.
comes over, and the boy. It's a really nice finish in the other
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
But it was very very poor defensively, and obviously you're thinking at that point this could quite easily be the end of the tie if we don't get a grip of the game.
yeah.
So halftime comes. I wouldn't say a good or bad time really. We were just kind of shell shocked, I think, because we'd had so many good chances, and then to go in 2-0 down
Yeah.
again. They played really well. I think they're probably the best half I've seen from a team at Easter Road probably this season. I think that's fair enough to say.
Better than Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, I thought Kilmarnock played well. That's all.
No,
Again,
no, they did, but I think that
I mean,
some
Warsaw
of
are a better team.
yeah, yeah, you could tell they were a higher standard, and they were knocking it about really well. The it's the way I describe it is, the way Celtic like two passes and they're in.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It was like that. Whereas
Yeah,
Kilmarnock, we were kind of letting them play, if you know what I mean.
sure.
Whereas when you're against good players, sometimes there's very little you can do if their movement's so good and they're just like ping, 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 and they're in.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's probably what I mean by that. So in terms of the second half, we were marginally better. They have a third ruled off, thankfully, because when
yeah.
that goes in, you're thinking that's a tie over. Like if it
Tie
goes 3
over.
0 that's it.
But it's what I said about Braga's second earlier. Onside is onside, and similarly, offside is offside.
Yeah,
It's very tight.
it's very tight.
But
It's very tight.
what a great moment for you to go from 3-0 to 2-1.
Yeah, yeah. So again, we hang in there. We make some changes. Cleese misses a sitter of a header.
Mm.
I think Rocky's had a header as well at some point, and there's a few other chances where you just think we're just not quite making the right decision there, or like not executing it uh in the way it needs to be, kind of for us to get back in the game.
Yeah,
But we hang in there, and Mulligan, he takes like a shot in the box, and it comes off their defender, and it comes back to him, and he gets a second bite of the cherry. And it's quite a nice finish in the end, 2-1. And you're thinking, right, there's still a few minutes left to try and get ourselves back into the game. But it didn't quite work out. But 2-1, it's not the worst result. We certainly should have scored more, but they could have as well. They had some good chances in that game as well. So 2-1 against what I would consider a pretty good side, European standard wise. We're still in the tie. I think we can cause them problems. They will cause us problems as well. And honestly, I think it's just going to come down to who's going to take more of their chances. I think it's going to be another open game. I think they're going to try and kill us off, and we obviously have to go for it. Maybe not the start again. Maybe contain it, feel your way into the game, and then go for it. But we have to get the team selection right, and when the chances come, we have to take them, or we're out.
and you've had this weekend to rest, which I can only see that as a positive for Hibs to have had the weekend off in between. Um, but I honestly, there was a similar thing I was thinking about the Hearts Motherwell one. Although it's a negative result, losing 2-1, when you consider what it could have been, i.e., 3-0. albeit for a
Yeah.
marginal. And by the way, that was a great goal they scored, although it was offside. It was a
Yeah.
nice, well worked goal.
Always a peach.
Um, but to go from 3-0 to then walk away from it actually just being 2-1, and it's not like it's not like they were 3-0 and bossing the game and
Yeah.
you got a consolation. It was as you say, you could have scored three yourself. They could add a couple extra. So the chances are definitely there. It depends how they set up, it depends who turns up. It depends on things like, is Bowie having one of those days where, like you say, he drags not an easy chance, but an easier chance than what he scored in the last
Yeah.
round? Or does he have one where he pings it in the top bin like that? Does Campbell play? There's too many. There's a lot of variables here, but you're certainly in it, and it's certainly doable.
Yeah. Uh, we're obviously underdogs. Might just suit us. They are favourites. We have
Mhm.
nothing to lose. We've had a free week. Players rested. Let's go for it. Let's set out an attacking team. Let's play our best players from the start, and I think we've got a chance.
So just to clarify, then you're taking Campbell out and putting it. Remind me of the new signing, Shiwa.
Shiva,
You're putting him in.
yeah, 100%.
Fair enough.
That's probably the team I'd start. There could be an argument for Nicky Cadden as well coming in. I just think set pieces are so important, and his crossing ability could be the difference in this game. So
Mhm.
if he doesn't start, I think we give him kind of 30, 35 minutes, depending on how the game's going, to just try and unlock their defense.
Yeah, yeah. At least an early sub. There's no point in bringing him on with 10 minutes to go or whatever.
No, no. And
Um,
that's one of my criticisms of Great. I think he leaves subs a bit too late when we can see like it's not quite working. He maybe needs to make those subs a bit earlier.
mhm.
Um, but look, it's hard to criticize. I didn't expect Hibs to get to the playoff round of this competition. So fair play. We've played some big teams. We've competed, which is great to see. So if we do go out, you know what, we go out with our head held high. If we can get a result, then great. The Euro adventure continues. But the league, the cup is our bread and butter anyway, and we've shown we can compete and we can take the lessons from that hopefully forward, and obviously the money.
Yeah, one of the things I remember saying to you, I think it was the Midtjylland game, was the difference of them having a lot of European experience and
Yeah,
actually the Hibs squad having next to no
yeah,
European experience, including players that you've signed. I don't know if any of them, I can't think of any of them that would actually have any sort of European experience. But the fact is, they've got that now, whether it's 3 rounds or whether it's the league phase as well. Um, and as you say, you've got the money, and you can reinvest that and things like that. So
exactly.
that's all. It's all positive. So quick one before we move on to the league next weekend. Rob, are Hibs going to be in the Conference League phase?
You know what? I'm gonna back my team. I'm gonna back them
Just saying on the record,
on the record.
Hibs will
I
be.
reckon we will.
No. I reckon on the record, Hibs will be there
Hibs will be there. We'll be there.
unless Campbell starts.
Yeah, I'll be
It
I'll be canceling that if Campbell starts. But no, you know what? I think we'll do it.
all hangs on one man's shoulders.
Yeah, I think we'll do it.
Right. Let's keep going with Hibs then as well.
Yeah,
So you play Legia Warsaw, and I know this makes it hard for Sunday because it kind of depends how that game goes,
yeah,
depends if there's extra time. But I would say outside of the two obvious, well, maybe one or two more, one of the hardest games you could have to have after a European game.
yeah.
St Mirren away next Sunday.
The only way it could be harder if it was away. So at least it's
Well,
like he's
I think you're away. Oh no, you're at home. No, sorry, it's
no,
hard.
we're at home.
My
You're
apologies.
making me doubt myself now.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
we're at home. So that makes it a little bit easier. Very, very tough team. It's going to be a very close game. St Mirren have shown they can compete with Rangers, with Celtic, with Hibs, Hearts.
Yeah.
They can mix it very, very well. They can defend. They can also cause problems. A bigger, younger boy is a problem. They're a big,
Man's on.
physical team. They must be horrible to play against.
Hmm.
Um, Reminds me of East Houses back in the day, the under 21s, just big physical boys, and it's just a battle for 90 minutes. But
Well,
I think obviously depending on how Thursday goes, and
if I
again, it might change slightly if our starting players are dragged into extra time.
if I could challenge you though, Rob, you mentioned home being easier. When is the last time Hibs won a game at Easter Road in non-competitive and competitive football?
I don't know.
Dundee United on the 3rd of May. Now, there's a few things to take in there, obviously, and that is you've been playing some European teams,
Yeah,
the Killie game, all these sorts of things, even including like Bolton and things like that. But does that concern you?
it does a bit. I mean, the 3rd of May is near the end of the season anyway. So
It is, and obviously you immediately discount June and July.
yeah, yeah. So I think the context of that has to be taken into account. So I'm I'm not overly concerned. It would be nice to get our first win on Sunday, and it'd be great to do it after whatever happens on Thursday, really, and
Mhm.
just to kind of, I guess, send a message to the rest of the league that look, there's St Mirren drawn with Rangers, knocked Hearts out the cup, and they come up to Easter Road and we turn them over, which would be brilliant. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a very close game. A draw would probably be the most likely result, I'd say, but I'm backing a Hibs win, sure. I think
I
we'll
will
win.
actually. I'll also stand corrected. I'm just thinking you played Essen, the German team, and you won that 3-2 actually in a friendly. Um,
Oh well, we'll take it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I apologize for that, but the point remains you're actually yet to win a competitive home game this season.
Yeah,
There's obviously lots of things to consider alongside that, but one of the things that is the marker of a good team is having that home record.
yeah.
Sure enough, playing Warsaw is a bit different to playing some of the, St Johnstone and Ross County from last season, for example. But you're back in a Hibs win against
I'm
St.
back in a Hibs win, a narrow Hibs win. But again, it's one of those ones that no result would surprise me really, unless St Mirren could easily win. A draw is probably the most likely, but I just think we'll win. I think we'll beat St Mirren.
St. Mirren have been impressive this season. I was thinking about that. They drew with Rangers. They were 3 or 4 minutes away from a draw at Celtic Park, which is obviously by far and away the toughest fixture in the league. They've beaten Hearts on penalties. Even if that's a league game, you're still saying that's a draw with
Yeah.
Hearts. And actually, their other draw was against Motherwell, and we've just spoken about how good they actually are this season, Motherwell. So, although they're yet to win a game in 90 minutes anyway, that's a tough start to the season.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Easter Road is obviously right in there as well. But they'll have lots of confidence that they can come there and
Yeah, absolutely.
so
And they've a good record against Hibs as well. But again, I just look at it. We've better players than St Mirren, and ultimately, those players should be full of confidence, enthusiasm. There's nothing I've seen really to make me doubt the character in this Hibs team. So again, pick the right team, we should win. But
yeah. And then
again, should and
and
you
will.
know, Hart should have, with the same logic, should have won easily against Motherwell, but it doesn't work out like that. So
And St
again, I'm
Mirren.
back in the team, but with caution.
I mean, that was my same words. Admittedly, we were at St Mirren rather than at home.
Yeah,
My words were still, we've got better players than them. And I mean, I stand by that.
yeah,
And I do think both teams playing their best football, Hearts are better.
yeah,
I can see the same against Hibs. But obviously, all it takes is Hibs to not turn up. And I mean, St
of
Mirren,
course. And
Mirren
if
have
we
no.
don't, and if we're not at it, they will win.
I was going to
Simple as
say
that.
that this is a sort of game where if St Mirren win 1-0 or it's 0-0 or something like that, you're not surprised.
No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. So, although I'm back in the team because I think they deserve the backing from
Yeah,
what they've shown, um, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a bit of a banana skin.
I'll go for I think that'll be a draw that one, mainly because I think there's a few teams that would be tough to play after a European fixture, but I just think the type of team that St Mirren are, I mean, it could be the worst. Like they could really physically get in about you, and if your
Yeah,
players are even 15 to 20% off it
Yeah,
Thursday night, I think you struggle, and I
yeah.
think they'll have a good day. So
And who do Hearts have, Stuart?
we're away to Livingston. So I mean, on paper, our easiest fixture yet this season.
Yeah,
So yeah, of course, I've got to back Hearts to be going there and winning. That said, Livingston can set up well. I know against
yeah,
Hibs, it was a bit of a walkover for Hibs really, and they showed it. But between the pitch, Martindale, they've made a couple of good signings this season. Actually, Livingston, they can set up well. It's whether they get that right or not.
yeah,
From that point of view. But obviously, I'm more interested in what Hearts do, and I think if we've got the likes of Braga playing, I would start Kazaridis as well. I think he looked lively when he came on. I think
yeah.
Benitez should be playing. We should be beating Livingston by a couple of goals.
I'm going for a draw in that game. I'd usually back a Hearts win for the reasons you've just detailed, but I just think the pitch, I think Hearts may struggle against the physicality of Livy. I think they did have a bit of an off day against us. We played very well as well. We had fresh players and those guys performed better than we kind of expected. I think they can be a really difficult team there. And that's why I said it wouldn't surprise me if they did knock Hibs out as well of the cup. As it turned out, it was comfortable, but I just think that they're going to cause Hearts a lot of problems, particularly from set pieces. Um, the big boy up top, what's his name?
Yeah, I forget.
Robbie, is it Robbie? What's his name? Got a mullet.
I need to look him up. Is it
Anyway,
not
I can't
your
remember.
head? Your
Huh?
head. Your head.
Your head, yeah. He can be a bit of a handful. Puts himself about, and they've
On the
got other
Hearts.
big boys as well. So I'm going for a draw.
No, fair enough. And I mean, I agree. Like Hibs did play well at Vale, but I suppose from a Hearts point of view, the thing I'm looking at in that game is, well, how did Livingston do against a top six team?
Yeah,
And I mean, the resistance was awful.
yeah,
It was really really bad. Um, so I mean, I don't think they'll do that every week though. I don't, and certainly now that they've done it, I don't think Martindale accepts it again because
no,
he's a tough
and
character.
that's what I mean. I think that was a kind of one-off kind of thing. And I know they were kind of poor against Falkirk, fair enough, but I just think it's a horrible place to go.
Oh no, they played well against Falkirk, Livingston. It was Falkirk. We were talking about the Hibs Falkirk game. Falkirk were poor against them. Livingston, I believe, played quite well. I still think though. I still think we're better. We'll have a bigger crowd than them, even though it's at Vale.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I get what you're saying there, but not for me. I also think the team deserve the backing. Um, but if we get the starting 11 right, I know we joked
yeah,
about Campbell, but if we can get our starting 11 right again, I think we win. And then some of these players that he wants to try out, rather than trying them at the start,
yeah.
get two goals up and then bring them on for the last half hour.
So a Livy win.
Yeah, Livingston 3-0 up after half an hour. Well, do you know what? Overall, though, Rob, both teams will be have good reason to be happy with their start to the season. I think it's fair to say,
Yeah,
um, without being perfect.
yeah.
There's reason for optimism. So the derby that's looming in the distance should be a good fixture for that one.
Should be tasty.
Well, thanks again, folks. As always, likes and subscribes and comments and things like that. Please do get involved. And of course, any local businesses looking to sponsor, just get in touch, and we'd be all too happy to promote you week in, week out on the show. Other than that, Rob, looking forward to next week. Let's see if Hibs still have a European campaign to look forward to, and obviously the league games at the weekend to discuss as well. So we'll
Thank
see you
you.
on.
See you later.